I want to talk just quickly some highlights from Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and the like. We've gone over here, so I don't want to go too in the weeds here. But Monday Night Raw,
Okay.
we already discussed Becky Lynch. You know what? The other thing that stood out to me about Monday Night Raw, baby Huey,
What's that?
was the closing segment between Edge and Randy Orton, and talking about how they're going to have a straight up wrestling match. Powerful segment. And I liked it, and I'm looking forward. I'm surprised that they're carrying on with the feud, to be honest with you. But of course, I'm down for another match. However, the closing statement of the show with Charlie being like,
"Well, gentlemen, if this does happen, it may just be the greatest wrestling match ever."
What was that? That was awful. I cringe. I wanted to jump out the window for her. That was awful. Why? Why, God? Why? Terrible.
Honestly, overall, this episode, I enjoyed it. I felt like there was a lot. It was like loosely a little bit of a reset, I think. This was seemed like an episode you would have seen like post WrestleMania. I felt like they really introduced or reset a lot of different storylines. So there was a lot of different segments and mid-carders, tag teams, women's division, the main event, like all pretty well represented. I mean, Drew McIntyre still being strong. The Iconics coming back. I thought that was great. Even Bobby Lashley and MVP, a new faction building, or kind
I
of
wonder, sort of phasing out Lana. I wonder if that's what's going on, that maybe she will be sort of going the way of leaving since Rusev is gone now. I don't know, but that sort of was an interesting development that I thought.
Yeah, I mean, her screaming though was so damn annoying. But I know Lashley MVP had a stable in TNA, the Beatdown Clan or something like that. So
yeah,
they might try to bring that back. The basketball segment with the Viking Raiders and Street Profits.
Holy balls!
I know it was not that good. I still laughed. But I kind of remind me of like the old segments in the late 80s or the 80s and 90s. It's not up there with like Mr. Perfect or anything, but like those type of goofy segments outside of the state arena, that's how I interpret it, and I try to just enjoy it.
I'm glad you brought that up, baby, because I had blocked it from my mind. And so not only do we have to have a moment of silence for Vanguard 1, as you suggested, but let's have an actual moment of silence for the careers of the Viking Raiders. R.I.P. Between their carpool karaoke and this, they are dead. They're the Highlanders now. Unbelievable.
Yes, very true.
So stupid. Stupid.
Before I forget, real quick, just Seth Rollins trying to take out
that was great.
Eyeball. Yeah, great stuff.
That was really good. Just Seth, just looking catatonic again. Just Seth. I know you're the biggest heel in wrestling, but thank you for the memes, for sure. On SmackDown, they announced that the Intercontinental Championship, the word of the week on SmackDown was what, baby Huey? Abeyance. The title was being held in abeyance with Sami Zayn being unable to defend it, and so they stripped him of the championship. What do you just think about that move in general?
I mean, a little bit. I think it sucks for Sami Zayn because rumor is that WWE told all their wrestlers, their superstars, because of the pandemic, if they just want to stay home, they have that option. It's okay. They won't lose their spot. They get buried or get any heat. But so Sami Zayn sounded like he took advantage of that opportunity and decided to stay home. And then what happens? He gets stripped of the IC title. So it does seem kind of petty a little bit. But then again, you got to look at for example, NXT, the Cruiserweight champion, he can't make it. He's out in Ireland. So now they're having the NXT Cruiserweight tournament on NXT. I mean, I know the U.S. title when Andrade had suspended for a month, they didn't take it off him. They just let him keep it. So I know that's one example of like, hey, that's unfair. But here's the thing. Also keep in mind, like Sami Zayn, he was showing up originally for these empty arena shows, and they were kind of giving him a lot of time. They gave him the title. Him and the artist, is it collective or collection?
Collective. The artist collective.
Basically,
their stable is just any three people in Berkeley.
So. Yes, I'm just saying. So, but the three of them were getting some decent screen time on SmackDown, so you can look like okay, here we'll give you a little bit of a push. And then all of a sudden, Sammy's like, "Nope, I'm out of here." So I'm looking from like the WWE's perspective. They could be a little bit upset, be like, "Hey, we gave you a push. You did show up for originally these set of tapings for the Empty Arena show, and then you disappear on us." So I could see why they might feel a little bit like, well, let's take the title off him.
Yeah, I mean,
kid.
I'm bummed for Sami Zayn, not being around to, sort of continue on with that push as well. I'm not going to judge either side in this in terms of like WWE wanting to, they're scrounging for, compelling week-to-week content. So they don't have their Intercontinental Champion. Well, let's strip them of it, and we'll make a tournament, which maybe will get more viewers. Because ratings haven't been knocking people's socks off during this time. So they're
invites as well.
Yeah, they're searching for answers with that. So I don't really view them stripping Sami Zayn as sort of a referendum on his decision. I view it more just creatively. It's like, well, now we have an opportunity to do this, and think about it when they do crown a new champion. And Sami Zayn does feel comfortable coming back, then it's a built-in storyline. They could, again, we've referenced it a few times. They could do the Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon deal again for that very championship. So it's
Sami Zayn on social media has been looking like keeping in character, like sounding like he's pissed off. So
yeah, and that's good.
It could be a work.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So I guess I just didn't jump to the conclusion that this is somehow a punishment for Sami Zayn, is as much as it is just a need to move forward in this situation and try and create compelling pro wrestling on their program. That being said, I thought the match between Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak was excellent, and I enjoyed Daniel Bryan's fired up promo after it. I thought AJ Styles was on Raw though. So him being in the tournament's a little suspect, and that brings us to this. Charlotte Flair appeared on SmackDown, even though she's the NXT Women's Champion, and this whole they were promoting on Raw the brand to brand invitational. Is what they're now sort of bandying about, and this to me. So not only do we have to have R.I.P. Vanguard 1. R.I.P. the career of the Viking Raiders in WWE, but R.I.P. brand split yet again. What are they doing? The optimist in me wants to believe that this is just out of necessity because of what's going on with the coronavirus. But I'm just worried that this is going to kill the brand split. And that's something that if you want to do that, okay, fine, then do it. But I would rather have either a hard brand split or no brand split, as opposed to these sort of, sort of just like arbitrary rules that they come up with to share talent. And the what they have it said is that superstars can appear up to 4 times a year on another brand. Yeah. But wait, how long until that just goes out the window? It's a slippery slope, in my opinion. I don't like it. No, sir, I don't like it, to quote Mr. Horse from Ren and Stimpy.
But that's what happened. That's what happened last time with the wildcard rules. Like, it was only 3
awful.
times. It was like 3 people only, and it turned to 4, 5, 10 people.
Look, I carry the water for Vince McMahon on like nobody's business, but the wild card rule was not a proof positive of Vince McMahon's genius and his brilliance, which he is. But I'm brilliant. The wild card rule, not his best moment, certainly not, and this is not either.
Well, allegedly, also apparently, both Fox and USA are upset with the ratings being down, and so I think both shows want more star power. So I think that's why they're trying to get more crossover appeal. But it's like, if that's the case, Baron Corbin's your first option, like your first opportunity for Raw is someone to get from SmackDown. Like, come on! And then Charlotte Flair,
King, show a little respect.
Yeah, peasants, my ass, whatever. But anyway, but Charlotte's now bragging. She's missed 3 shows.
Like, and I love Charlotte, but it's just like I'm pro brand split.
Yeah, it's we'll see how this plays out, but yeah, this looks like it's going to be turned into a mess, and that's the thing. It's not so much like all these wrestlers need to appear on all these shows at the same time. It's like you take your respected roster from each show and you gotta maybe do a better job of the storytelling, of the creative. And I think there's a lot more to it. And these executives over at Fox and USA are just like, I just want this person on my show. Star power, star power. It's like, no, that's like, don't listen to these executives tell you how to run your wrestling show. If that's the case,
Well,
what?
yeah,
I feel there's a better way of handling this. It's like, okay, each has a very deep roster for each show. There's better ways to use what you have instead of having to dip your toes into other shows to bring over crossover appeal. I don't know. I'm worried what's going to happen.
I am too. And you know, as I've said, you know, now to, you know, it's probably a drinking game how much I want a hard brand split or no brand split at all. So this to me was again one of those things, just like the Viking Raiders segment that I blocked out. I actually had completely blocked out this stupid idea for the brand to brand invitational is just to me a bad idea. No, yeah. Sir, I don't like it. Real quick, since we were running super long, what was your one highlight from NXT this week?
I obviously Timothy Thatcher and Matt Riddle.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, unfortunately, they dropped the tag titles to the guys in Imperium, but then have their match later on in the main event. I mean, just Timothy Thatcher just shows what you and I have been lucky enough to see here in Northern California. You know, he is from Sacramento, so his time in APW, just to see his wrestling skills being displayed on a larger platform, super awesome.
It was so cool to me that he is already main eventing NXT and he's involved in a major storyline. I was just, first of all, it was a really, really good match. And I'm just blown away that he is already main eventing NXT. So happy for the guy, and he's delivering. And I think he's only going to continue to sort of keep on that rise in NXT. So I'm very, very excited for him. Loved the main event. Loved that he was in it. It was very cool stuff. And then we didn't get to talk about it before, but Killer Cross and Scarlett Bordeaux, they made their debuts, and I'm loving that. Love the presentation so far for them. So that's been really, really awesome.